that you play a key role in the awakening world. And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Awakening World. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas. Have you had a multidimensional experience? Come on, I bet you have. It might have been a lucid dream. It might have been astral projection. It may have been an amazing experience with something from the other side, an ET, an ancestor, an angel. Well, tonight we're going to create an opportunity for us to share some of those stories because we've got some incredible people with us that are definitely have one foot firmly on terra firma, but also maybe another foot in the other world. And that includes Craig Campobasso. He's back with us. Hasn't been on the show, I think, since the Saturday Night Live days. So it's great to have Craig back. And he's got a very exciting book and movie that we're going to learn all about. And Vox is back, that extraordinary being who channels energy and creates what are probably my favorite sounds and musical experiences, short of Omashar, of course. And Reverend Jeffrey is here representing the International Space Federation. And we are going to see a video with the latest from Nassim Haramein. And we've got a very special treat at the very, very end. But as always, the greatest treat of all is our beloved house musical artist, Omashar, who will get us off, no doubt, to a rousing start.
No doubt at all. And yes, I have had interdimensional experiences, but I ain't going to tell you about them. You're going to have to pull them out of me like hen's teeth. I'd like to welcome all of those watching on Facebook and YouTube and our streaming partners. Thank you very much for tuning in. And think about joining us and joining us in the Zoom room. And so here's a nice little backing, and I think we're ready.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Perfect first song. Absolutely perfect. Let's all give a big...
I did channel John's new lyric for the chorus there, so had his permission.
I did like that new lyric. I thought it was especially appropriate, my friend. Well, we are going to go all across the universe tonight, and I'm going to go right into showing a video which will help to introduce our first guest. Boom, huh? How's that is really exciting. And that is the creation of our first guest. Craig Campobasso is back with us. And you have been busy, Craig. Um, Tell us about this big project you're working on.
Well, the book came out in 2019, which is a MUFON book, the Extraterrestrial Species Almanac, which basically is the same cover, right? And it's been a bestseller in the UFO category on Amazon. And I immediately, before the book was even published, started getting approached by production companies who wanted to make it into a documentary. I wasn't thinking that far ahead, and I thought to myself, well, I'm a filmmaker. My best friends are award-winning documentarians. I'm an award-winning filmmaker. So I waited, and then we started putting it together, and it's taken us 3 years to, really put this whole thing together. I mean, we went to places far and wide, into a remote Italian village with a man who's been having face-to-face contact with clarions for over 30 some years, literally. So we spent 2 days with him. Um, and so, so the documentary, I call it, it's an extension of the book, and you're going to get to meet uh, the actual contactees who have pictures
Wow.
of the beings, which they've allowed us to share. Um, Also with some hybrids as well, which, who are out and talking about it, which is very fascinating and interesting. I always look for the very spiritual aspect, which I know you do too, Scott. And so it is a very uplifting movie, although we do tread into the parts where, there people have had not such great experiences with abductions or things of that nature. But all of that is handled with care. So I was asked to do this because my literary agent from moons ago knew that I started studying contactee cases when I was 26, and I'm in my 60s now. Um, so he's the one who he broached a deal with Red Will Weiser Books and to have MUFON have an imprint. So I'm one of the first books that came out of the MUFON title. So basically, all of the races and everything that are in the book um, come from real live contactee cases or hybrid cases or deep dives that I went into. Of course, my own experiences, being an experiencer and astral traveler as well. And so it's been really, really exciting, and it's so exciting to have it on a DVD now. Look at there.
That's
They
great.
literally arrived yesterday. So anyway, they're on the website. Are you going to post the link?
Yes, yes.
That
Yeah.
that'll post the link. So if anybody wants to, get it, you could purchase the DVD there, and you'll get it right away. It won't be streaming until next February or at the very latest March. Um, But I have all my books on that website. So if anybody wants them, I'm happy to sign them for Christmas presents to other people, all that good stuff. So
Yeah, no, we're definitely going to go take a look at the website.
yeah.
But I wanted to put out to the audience while you've got this guy who has studied and kind of tracked all the different species. If anybody has a question about a species or an experience they had, put it in the chat box because that would be this is the guy to ask. How many
Yes.
different species are you aware of? Have you, kind of tracked?
Well, I initially, when I started the book, I tracked about 120. The publisher just wanted me to do thumbnail reviews, which is why it's great for the documentary because you get the extension, right?
Right.
Um, and they said, we want to see how many you can fit into a book that you have to come in under 300 pages. And so, I was a big fan of Paul Hellyer, who is a former Canadian Minister of Defense, who really talked about extraterrestrials visiting us, his whole career. And at the end of his life, he said that he knew of 82 races that were visiting Earth. So I thought, well, let me see if I can honor him and fit 82 in. So I was able to fit it in.
Wow.
82 races. So there's more, of course. And what's so great about doing this book is that I get so many emails from people telling me about different beings that they're meeting. Some of them know their names and what they look like the name of where they're from, and others just know what their description is, but they don't know the origin,
Right.
right? So
I've
you,
got a strange ET that just jumped into my lap.
I know that's a beautiful ET.
What's your take now that you've been studying this for so long, you're an experiencer yourself? We just had Whitley Strieber on the show recently.
Mm,
And it was interesting to get his updated take. He's been on a few times.
yeah.
What's your take of what this all means?
Well, in the big scheme of things, there's a giant consciousness raising program going on Earth,
Mhm.
which is coming from all of the benevolent cultures, the beings. I know I have been told it's called the Galactarian Alignment of Space, Peoples, and Planets because they're all aligned in consciousness, right? They're all fully conscious. We're dualistic here, right? We're
Right.
still learning, and once we merge our duality, which is really overcoming our emotions and realizing that that we use our heart to rule our mind, and then that's where it all starts to tick in, and then the next set of chakras come in, and then we become these great, galactic beings, and we start to become fully conscious, and that's when we start connecting to the beings. This started happening for me when I was 26. I'm not kidding, Scott. I was a kid from the valley who never thought about extraterrestrials, anything like that. And I had a major spiritual awakening. And through that awakening, I started connecting to universal master teachers in the universe. And I didn't understand it at first, but after a 2-year waking process, all of this came into being. And I wasn't really quite sure why it was happening, but the main master teacher, after the 2 years was over, he said, now it's time for you to sit down and write the books that you came here to write.
Wow.
And that's this story. It's the autobiography of an extraterrestrial saga. Right now, it's a 4-book series. This one's called I Am Tehran. Sylvia Brown, actually, I met her at one of her conferences, and she was so kind enough to write the foreword to it because she believed in it. She wrote 65 books. I mean, to have a first-time author get a big person like that, to write it. She said, I wrote one at the beginning of my career, and I wrote one, and yours will only be the second one, at the very end. So basically, it's really about everything that's going on out there in the universe in conjunction with Earth and that consciousness raising program. But you get to learn about the lives. The main extraterrestrial in there is a Pleiadian man named Turan. And his story is interesting because he was born dualistic in a society that is fully conscious. And they explain that in every 200,000 births up there, somebody um, uh, every 200,000 births, there will be somebody that's born dualistic, because what that does is it helps them to stay in sync with people who are dualistic, and dualistic people to also learn what it's like to be fully conscious
Wow.
in that respect. So it's a four-part book series right now. And it's you follow Tehran also as he learns to become fully conscious. And so the reader actually is taking that journey, and they can learn how to do that themselves as well.
Amazing. A couple of non-ET things. Where in the Valley did you grow up?
I grew up I was born in Sun Valley, and then I pretty much grew up in Lakeview Terrace when I was a boy, and then North Hollywood the rest of the time.
I was born and raised in Granada Hills,
Ah,
then 12 years in Studio City, and then Topanga, and finally Beverly Glen and Marina Del Rey. So a
oh my God.
couple of Valley kids.
Yes, we are. And there's not many of us who are from here.
Well, and now the thing that I just discovered when I was reading your biography, you were a big part of my all-time favorite television show, Picket Fences.
Oh, great. I
If you
love
had
that
asked me
show.
what's your favorite television show of all time, I'd say either Picket Fences or Hill Street Blues. So it's very cool that you're the
Yes.
casting director for Picket Fences,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
terrific show.
It was amazing. It was, I mean, that was one of my favorite shows to work on,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it really was a family, and film crews and all of that. When you're done, I mean, you get sad, you cry,
Yeah.
because, you're ending that family, although you can still see them, but you don't get to see them every day,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Well, that's why, and that's really when David Kelly first was really taking off, before
Oh, yeah.
before the practice. That was like his first real
It
big.
was right before the practice, and when we were doing Chicago Hope at the same time.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Well, that's very cool. All right, we're going to take a look here, and then we'll take a look at some questions. But here is where you can get started with getting the things from Craig. Autobiography of an ET.com. And then I went to books. If you go to,
Yeah, other books.
we'll go to other books. Here we go. And this is where you can order all the different books. The how do you pronounce that? Huroid?
Yeah, the Huroid Revolution. Huroids are an interesting thing in their community. So,
Wow. Now, is this kind of fiction based on what you've learned in talking to people?
well, it is really advanced spiritual information. Um, and so the thing is that when they first had me sit down to start to write, I didn't know what channeling was. I didn't know what automatic writing was. The master teacher just said, sit down and write and write and write. And I did it with a pen, right? In those days in longhand, because we didn't have computers then, right?
Right.
And he said, write and write and write, and don't stop, don't edit, write until you can write no more. So that's how it all started. So all of this incredible information would come out, and I would hear words that I didn't know what they meant, and I would say, "Can you spell them?" And they would, and then I'd look them up in the dictionary, and I go, "Oh, wow," So anyway, it was in my life, it was one of the most incredible things. Me being in the film industry, I held the first UFO parties, right? Where I lived in a little one-bedroom apartment, and I would fit 100 to 125 people in there. I've had a ufologist come over. It was VHS tapes in those days. They'd pop them in. I mean, people were so fascinated. And then I would tell them my experiences, right? And I know some of my friends looked at me, a little strange. Nobody poo-pooed it or anything like that. But, years later, they were like, yeah, thank God for you, because now I'm like you.
Mm.
Now I really think in these incredible, broad spiritual terms, and my life is so much better. And, when you live it, right, and you don't know who's picking it up, right? Like you doing this incredible show, you have no idea how many lives you've changed, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it is true. Every now and then you'll meet somebody who says, "Oh my God, your book, your film, your show," and it's a beautiful thing. We've
yeah,
got questions for you.
sure.
So Connie and Andrew are asking, tell us what you know about crypto-terrestrials.
Well, I don't know much about crypto terrestrials. I mean, if we were to think of the Mothman as a crypto terrestrial, that still is an enigma to everyone. I do cover it in the documentary. I have the wonderful psychic medium Chip Coffey, who's on Kindred Spirits, and he was on lots of other shows. He actually studied it, and he actually went to the bunkers and everywhere where these things were. Now, he does not believe that they're harbingers of doom. He believes that they come to warn, like they did on the Silver Bridge, way back when the bridge collapsed, and that kind of thing. I've talked to Ronnie LeBlanc a lot about Bigfoot, right?
Mhm.
And Ronnie was on the show Bigfoot Expedition, I think it's called.
Right.
Very popular show. And the fascinating thing is that it seems like they pop in, what they people see lights in the dark forest, and it seems like they appear through these dark lights, or lights, and then they all of a sudden can disappear as well, right? There's a fascinating story on the Bradshaw Ranch, which I cover in the UFO Hotspot book. And there was a albino Bigfoot who is female, and Linda Bradshaw, who lived on the ranch. And if people have never heard of Bradshaw Ranch, it's in the middle of nowhere, just outside of Sedona. There are no lights. It's I wouldn't want to be there at night. That's all I can say. So many different things with extraterrestrials have happened there. You get grays, reptilians, interdimensionals, all kinds of things, spaceships landing. But the horses, have you ever had Tom Dongo on your show from
Well,
Sedona?
well, now that we're talking about the Bradshaw Ranch, this takes us back to when I was producing, I worked as a producer on the Paranormal Borderline. It was a primetime series on UPN. And
Yeah.
I went out to the Bradshaw Ranch and did 2 segments there with Linda, and her husband Bob was still alive.
Oh my God.
And that was back in the days when you had a video crew, right?
Right.
And the crew that we had, they were very skeptical. We had picked them up in Phoenix. And when we started seeing stuff, one of my favorite moments is the cameraman is, "Oh my God, this shit's real."
Right. Right.
So yes, I have great memories of being at the Bradshaw Ranch. And of course, we had Tom Dongo, who wrote the book about it,
Right.
come out, and he was kind of our research person talking about what was going on there. But that was back in, oh God, that would have been 1996,
Yeah.
something
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there was so much stuff. I cover it all in the book, but if not, people, you guys should get Tom Dongo's book as well. Mysteries of Sedona, I believe it's called, and it has it in there. But the Bigfoot there, Linda ended up calling her Big Girl. For the reason is on her mare. She would find these white hairs all the time. And Tom Dongo called her and said, either some grays or reptilians are stealing all the fetuses from the mares in
Oh,
all of the surrounding ranches. So be very careful. And so she thought, well, I'm going to put some food out by the horse corral. She put some vegetables and some fruit. And the next morning, it was all gone and there were Bigfoot prints. And then, gifting on the plate. And this kept happening night after night. And then at a certain point, the Bigfoot, she laid down in the dirt to show her that her stomach was pregnant.
oh,
Right. And so she really believed that she was protecting her mare, right? And she would still find the white hairs on her stomach. And then at a certain point after that, she started to see the little baby footprints alongside the mother's,
wow.
which I thought was great. Now, not only heard these stories from Tom Dongo, but one of my longtime friends since 1990, Judy, worked at the Bradshaw Ranch. So
Wow.
she knew all those stories. She's the first person to take me there and just tell me all of these unbelievable stories.
Wow.
I
I
mean,
haven't been there in years. Does Linda still have the ranch?
no, it was owned, the son sold it to the government,
Hmm.
and the government, I think, after years gifted it to like the farm and land
Hmm.
company. A part of it, they're doing, little things with vegetation and saying how that grows and that kind of thing. But the ranch is all blocked off. They used to have signs up that said no trespassing, but they don't have those anymore.
Hmm. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, last question for you, because I know you've got a dinner date tonight. Um, most or many of our audience members, and it seems like most people relate the most to being Pleiadian or connected to the Pleiades. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I am too, by the way.
Oh, well, I'm asking the right.
That's like when I heard the name Pleiades when I was waking up, I literally sat down and I cried. The Pleiadians, along with many of the other star nations, are a big part of this consciousness raising program. They, along with all the other star nations, say that they have left their DNA from living here, in the past. On the planet. I always say that one day 23andMe and MyHeritage will have a thing where you can send in your DNA and they'll say, okay, you've got origins from Sirius and the Pleiades.
Wow.
that kind of thing, because I'm sure that will happen at a certain point. Um, and and what's great is that we're all activating each other even now by just being together, and that helps to raise our consciousness to think about things in a different way, how to present things to people when it's uncomfortable, so that it makes it less comfortable. I mean, so that it's not a strange thing, because the hardest thing is conflict, and the Pleiadians especially are really wonderful with conflict with others, because their core is just unconditional love. And what's incredible about them and the other star nations is that if you were to walk on one of their craft, right, everyone would turn and look at you and they would send you love,
Mm.
because they want you to know how much you're loved. And let's say if there's a breakup between a couple and they're both hurting, and that they will also talk it through, but people will just come up even if they don't know them, and they will just embrace them and they will just hold them, they cocoon them,
Wow.
right? And I just think that that is really, really beautiful. I wish we did that here more often. I mean, I hug everybody. I'm a hugger, right? And it's a little hard when somebody else isn't a hugger, but I have a few family members that aren't huggers, but I hug them anyway. I figure someday they'll come around.
I love that.
Yeah.
Boy, I've heard that the Pleiades are basically us, but a more advanced version.
Yes,
Uh,
yes. And they're, of course, it's multidimensional,
mhm.
right? So a lot of people who are even having contact with the Pleiades could be having contact with like fifth, sixth, and seventh dimensional, even higher up as well, right? And a part of that of the Starseed program, especially in the Pleiades, is that a lot of these higher dimensional beings have stepped down their being so that they can come back into a human form to help raise this consciousness. There's actual Pleiadians living on Earth, because that helps raise their vibration. The Clarion race, there are many of those beings living on Earth, like real extraterrestrials, living and working in jobs. All this is the one thing that I have found with all of these races. They all come and live on Earth, and they take jobs and they become a part of our community to learn about us and understand us. But all those people who get to interact with that people just go, God, that is such a beautiful being. I just want to be their friend, right?
I,
And and so they're getting this incredible inoculation just by being around them, and that kind of thing. So a lot of the star seeds, I'll give you an example, because we've had so many generations and generations of star seeds now. So now when you have a mother and father that are advanced star seeds, then the star seed child coming in, more of their energy from back home can come in because they can sustain it, right? Like I know a family that has two boys. I met them when they were 12 and 15, right? They're young men now. One of the boys spoke 5 star languages,
wow.
not taught by his parents, taught by them,
Right.
right? And I would get on EVPs, I would get beings talking to me in another language, and I would give it to linguists and things like that. And they said, I don't know what that is. I gave it to the boy, and he said, oh, he said, that's Pleiadian, and they're telling you that they just built a base near you.
Oh,
Because in a certain place I was living, I always saw the ships when I would sit and watch my TV, I would have the patio door open and I would see them. And I would just say, power up. And they'd go like that. Right. So, so it was interesting. But I mean, there's just so many incredible stories, that we should do a show just on stories.
We should. We should. Well, I definitely want to have you back on the show
Yeah,
again.
I would love to.
People are really enjoying you, and people are asking how to get more information. So I'm going to take you through it again. Go to Autobiography of an ET, just et.com. And then when you get there, click where it says Other Books, and that will take you to the Extraterrestrial Species Almanac. Also, make sure you subscribe. Click subscribe here. So, Craig can keep in touch with you and send his Pleiadian friends your way.
Yes.
I'm clicking subscribe. It's not, that's interesting. But that's the place to go. Autobiography of an ET.com. And
and in other books, if you scroll down, it has the other MUFON books and things like that. And I have these Universal Seal protection cards, which are Michael, Metatron, and Melchizedek.
Wow. Look at all these.
Yeah, that's a movie I did. It was I hired every famous comedian known to man. So we did a book about that's Dom DeLuise played Hannibal Lecter. It was a
that's hilarious.
Yeah, and Billy Zane played Joe, middle initial D Foster.
Oh, that is funny. Wow. We'll have to. Is that film available?
It's online somewhere. Somewhere it is, maybe Tubi or something like that. So,
wow.
They're very fun.
Craig, what an amazing life you've had. We've done pretty good for a couple of Valley Boys.
Yes, that's right.
Well, have a great dinner party.
I will. Well, it's a business dinner, so I'm going to finish watching this tomorrow. I can't wait to.
I'll send you the recording.
Phyllis's beautiful singing. Oh my God! And
you're in for a treat with Phyllis.
I got a little bit of it, and my heart was going a pitter patter. All right. Love and blessings to you all.
Thank you, Craig.
Bye.
What an amazing guy, huh? Isn't he something? Hey, before we go to Vox, I want to acknowledge our wild monk of the Mystic Monastery, Jerry Anderson. He was the special guest on Humanity Rising a few nights ago, and super proud of you, Jerry. Tell us a little bit about what you talked about, and I'm going to put the link into the chat box where people can check out what you did.
Well, if you're not familiar, Humanity Rising is an amazing show. Every morning comes out of the West Coast, and Jim Garrison, he is a most incredible interviewer. He has amazing gift of the English language and has a vocabulary that's off the charts. And I shared a little bit what we're doing with the monastery down there, and that we're preparing for next December 2025, the unveiling of the Nation of St. John. So we'll all be becoming more and more aware of what's happening on that. But only the Global Peace Tribe and Humanity Rising has so far actually heard about what we're doing. So it's been real quiet.
Well, people definitely check it out. I'm going to put the link into the chat box. It's available on YouTube. Or for those of you watching on Facebook who can't go into the chat box, come and join us. Come to the globalpeacetribe.com. Join us. Come into the Zoom room. Or just go to YouTube and put in Humanity Rising Day 1039, Mystic Monastery. And there is our beloved wild monk, Jerry Anderson, talking with the great Jim Garrison. And I agree, Jim is really, really special. So that's two amazing men having, I'm sure, a very dynamic conversation. Thank you, Jerry. Proud of you. All right, it is time for our next guest. She's back, and it's been a while. Welcome back to the Awakening World, Vox.
I'm so happy to be back with you guys.
Yeah. So, tonight's theme is all about adventures and cosmic exploration. Tell us a little bit about what some of your adventures have included recently,
In regards to extraterrestrials,
or multidimensional. I mean, I see a very multidimensional being when I look at you. So,
I am a very multidimensional being. I was actually Syrian at one point. I do identify with being Syrian, and they do work with sound, and also I'm seraphim. So those are the two most beneficial things in regards to the work that I do.
Seraphim is angelic realm, right?
Yes.
And so, how do you discover that? Like, how do you learn about your multidimensional or, connection? Or,
Well, it's weird because it's so strange because since I was a little girl, even with the religious stuff, I have always had a vision of myself at what I would consider to be the throne of God as an angel. The seraphim sit at the throne of God, though it doesn't actually look like that. It's a lot of sacred geometric stuff, but I always envisioned myself sitting to the left and having this big presence, just this blinding light that sat slightly behind me. And that always progressed, periodically kept coming forward, and then just really like the last several months I've had like this I transcended the experience daily. This opening, because they're like, it's time, get with the program. And a friend actually came in. He sits 3 seats down. He's also seraphim. And he was a client. I worked on him and opened him up. And then they were telling him, you need to like clear something within Phyllis Vox so that she remembers. But you have to wait. Because I had to wait for a time, because you have to have these moments of self-revelation before you're prepared to receive. And so they told him that I had passed that pinnacle point. And so then he met with me and he totally opened up my remembrance.
wow.
So my life has really changed as far as like my work and it's really interesting. But on the extraterrestrial note too, that's changed because I was just recently, I guess the week before Thanksgiving, I was in Sedona with Vivian Chaffee and Marilyn Gawecki. Because Marilyn, she channels Zazar, who is Arcturian and Elfin, and of course Vivian Chaffee is an Arcturian. So we just had a wonderful, very interesting week with that most extraordinary retreat. But we saw a lot of spaceships, and I had a couple experiences
Wow.
there during the week as well. So it's really all just to say that things are opening, things are opening up. And when you are open and prepared to like be accepting of that new or different reality, be careful what you ask for. Because I kept asking, okay. But I've had remembrances and things happen throughout my life. But now there's been a big opening.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be in Sedona a week from tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm taking a road trip heading down to LA, San Diego, then up to Sedona. And of course, we've had Vivian on the show many times, and also Tazar through Zenka, I think, and Alan Steinfeld. So
Beautiful.
Sedona is definitely an amazing place for us to go to. I think it's like our Mecca, really. It's such an interdimensional doorway. Of course, we just heard Craig talking about the Bradshaw Ranch, which is just outside of Sedona. What's your take about interdimensional doorways as a multidimensional being, and as you are getting more, I guess, what you say, remembering your multidimensional self? Are there particular places that you can go, like Sedona, where it's easier to remember or to drop into those other aspects of yourself?
Well, I would agree with that. I do go through multidimensional doorways all the time. I mean, just in my regular work. The interesting thing is that now I've always known, didn't know how I did it, but now it's quite apparent. And because when you've gone through, I've gained much more clarity of vision on the other side within the different dimensions within which I work. So when you go into those powerful spaces and places, that you are obviously much more, the ability to open up much more to those types of experiences are more available to you. It's funny because one of the best places for me is if I'm flying. If I'm up in an airplane, I'm always like, looking for that experience. I'll just go whoop in meditation. I'm like, okay, what you got? And I'll be sitting there because for some reason when I'm up in an airplane, I'm not as rooted as I am when I'm walking upon the earth. And I just find that that's like a really good place to channel, information, receive downloads and so forth. But yeah, Sedona is a beautiful space. One of the other places now that they've kind of discovered different things, and there's a vortex there as well, is actually Lake Tahoe.
Really?
Lake Tahoe is a magical place to be as well now, and that's one of the spaces that has recently kind of, I guess you would say, opened up and made itself available to humanity. So that's actually a really good place to go as well.
Well, that's good to know. Would you be willing to bless us with some of your amazing voice? What do we call it?
Oh, I don't know.
I know all of a sudden it's like, what do I call what you do?
Transmission.
I usually
Transmission.
call
There
it
you go. That's good.
yeah, a vocal alchemy transmission would be kind of the basic term. Yeah, it's really interesting because as I've done this work, they're just like, okay, now it's going to be this, now it's going to be that. There's been a beautiful refinement happening in my work. In addition to just the opening more, being more expansive and things opening and coming in. And as that's refined, I've become more unidentifiable, like more defined. And they don't understand. I'm like, I gotta call it something. If I'm gonna be doing these sessions, I'm gonna be doing these performative things. What do I call it? They're not really concerned with that. But I do know it's like transmission. And so I have been searching for the best name. So I see Phyllis's transmissions are hugely. Okay, she called it a transmissions. I'll go with that.
Okay. Well, it is certainly a very, very unique thing that you provide us, and very, very grateful for it. So, what do you always suggest as we receive your transmission? Anything you suggest as far as having the maximum experience of connecting to it?
Well, yes, you want to be as grounded as possible. So if you're seated or lying down, do whatever it is that you generally do to ground or root yourself. I always say when you're rooted, you can fly, right, without a challenge. And so just grounding yourself and just close your eyes, and there's nothing you really need to do except just be open. And no judgment about how you're feeling, how you're experiencing it, but just allow yourself to be open and to receive whatever it is that you are meant to receive. And that's really it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. We're ready for liftoff, Captain.
All right, my dears. Thank you. Let's see here. I'm not going to use a backdrop because we had a sound issue, so. All right. So just take a few breaths in and out. And as you exhale, just allowing yourself to relax. Opening the heart especially, opening the mind. And just listening with all that you are. And we will begin. andare cireno, tondre cireno, ture tur, ammariere, onger ammariere, sondre tur, ammariere, ore ammariere, sondre tur, angiorere, ongiorere, cire, ongiorere, sire, ture, coror, ongerire, Madere core sunde tur, angeris cepum, angerere sire tur, angerire non, ere sire tundre tur, angerire son, angerere, hor, ingresir, anture noro. Irike sucera, perché si attire, angerin nor, cui ma papà che ieri su cui era ma sottundre, angerin nor, abacche su cundre, speira capoire, angerin ore sir, ne tur. Oh, de verisor, et toro, ah, verisor, et tirere, ah, verisor,
Whenever I'm in your presence and I experience that, it's like being in the future. It's like, wow, this is the future now happening with us. It's such a beautiful high vibration. I'm going to read some of the comments coming in. Susan Blomquist writes, elegant and angelic. Eleanor Joy writes, Phyllis's transmissions are so hugely powerful. Grace Denise just writes, wow, exactly, wow, with lots of exclamation points. Kathy writes, that was beautiful. I felt that all the way through my being. Susan writes, one only needs to hear these sounds to know that angels exist. Yeah, you truly are an earth angel. What's it like for you as you're bringing it through? Are you present and kind of watching yourself? Are you just fully in the experience? What's it like being Vox?
Oh, it's such trauma. No. That's one of the things that has happened. When I first started doing this, it was more like I am channeling, Elohim is here. It was just really a couple months ago. It's kind of like they got closer and closer, like the energies got more intense. And one of the things was that they were preparing me because I bring in these vibrations, which they call, the heavenly vibrations of creation type thing. And so they're 12th dimensional and beyond. So I had to be prepared to be able to sustain that within the physical body. But one of the things that had recently happened was I've totally opened and I'm fully embodied now with my seraphim. And so that has been kind of a little bit of a rude awakening to my human aspect. But now I don't have a challenge whatsoever. I think somewhere in the between I would bring it in. There'd be so much energy. You'd see me shaking, because I'd have to shake or stomp it off. But now it flows in and through. So one of the things that's happened with the transmissions is they're now up leveled in potency as well, because I'm able to bring much more through. So I do. It's kind of like I'm really truly on my mission now. They're saying there's so much more to come. Yeah. So.
I'm going to read a couple more comments and then tell people all about how they can get more of you. Eleanor Joy writes, tears are flowing as I reflect on this amazing experience. Charlotte writes, what a gift. What a true blessing you are, dear Vox. Grace writes, your singing and channeling is so wonderful. Such a beautiful, extraordinary gift for our world. Dia writes, Phyllis, this was truly the most expanding and resonating experience I have had to date with you and with all other previous sound experiences. I flew freely through rafters of French cathedrals. Well, here's a couple of important things to know. Vox is going to be doing an event this Saturday, December 7th, with our friends at Portal to Ascension from 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. Tell us a little bit about what this is going to be, and I'm going to, of course, put the link into the chat box.
Well, one of the things is that I've really, I'd always been connected to what I would know as Jesus, right? And then it was Yeshua. And I went on a tour fairly recently. It was during the summer in France. A friend got married, and it happened to be in France. And we did a whole tour that followed Mary Magdalene's work, and then I kind of got downloads everywhere. One of the things was the Christing. And so what they're calling the Christing is our ascension. And they're making a distinction because a lot of people think, I'm rising up, and they kind of feel like they're going to discard the physical body, but we can't. We are merged with what they call the human aspect, right? And we're merged with great purpose. But in that merging, we want to embody our God force, right? And allow our God force that we truly are to express itself out into the physical world from within this vessel. And so that's really what we are awakening to. So what Elohim was telling me, people when they talk about like the second coming of Christ and all of that, we are the second coming, and that second coming is coming from within us, from within our own hearts. We each are awakening and ascending. We each are. It is our rebirth. I guess you could call it the second coming, right? So it is our rebirth from within this physical form. So the Christing initiation that I've been told that I've been given that ability to activate and open the halo. So if you think about those old Baroque paintings where they have, the light, the halos around it. So that's what the Christing initiations are. So this is an extremely discounted opportunity to receive those initiations. It's going to be quick because I got to pack them into 2 hours. Because there's actually 3 transmissions that happen. But that's what's going to be happening. I'm going to initiate you into that halo opening, into that from that inner Christing. And you'll have those as kind of those seeds of awakening that within you, should you choose to open up to that opportunity.
Wow, that's really exciting. So, okay, again, it's the Christing initiations with Vox and Yeshua, $33. And just go to portaltoascension.org. It's the very first event that comes up when you take a look at upcoming online events. And I put it in the chat box for our Zoom roomers. And then in general, this is her main website. It's her name, Phyllis, Phyllis, Douglass, DOUGLASS.com. And we did just experience the voice of the angel. If you wanted to hear her, just right there on her website, right at the very front, is a beautiful transmission. And you can learn really much, much more about her, what she's doing, and you can book a session. So definitely you go here to services, click book your session, and that's where she's got her appointment schedule. And she does soul frequency attunement, sacred essence clearing, and then you've got training programs and certifications. Tell us about that.
Well, it's when I was given what's called Starfire, and that's also is really an ascension technology. And it was interesting because originally it started out being called the Akadawa through my old teacher and so forth, and it had started to evolve. And when I started to pull away from my teacher, I got more of an evolution of that work that they called Starfire. So it's really changed significantly, but it's become my own. And so it can be used, it's an ascension technology, but it's also can be used for healing self and others. So it's an energy, a system of energy that you have access to. But this is an access to solar consciousness and that energy. And it's really, if I do say so myself, it's really very powerful and beautiful to be anchored into that. But one of the things that I like about it is there's no dogma, no technique attached. It's something that's really installed within you. I transmit a solar substance to you, and then it is yours. It walks with you, it works with it. It's kind of like, I like to say it's like an intimate dance partner through life. It dances with you at whatever level you're at and helps you in your own spiritual evolution and just to enhance everything that you do.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being back with us again.
Yes, thank you.
And I have a feeling a lot of our friends are going to be with you on Saturday. That looks really, really very cool.
Beautiful. I welcome all of you.
Vox, thank you so much for being in the body and everything, whatever you've had to go through to open yourself up to become this divine channel. Thank you. Thank
Yes, and thank you, everyone.
you. Thank you, Vox. Boy, I get such a natural high listening to her, right? And I think that was true for a lot of people. Certainly some of the comments that we saw. Well, to kind of integrate that, we're a little bit past the midway point of the show, and it is time for Omashar. Omashar, how was your experience of Vox?
Vox, you rock. literally, because I've witnessed you 4, 5, or maybe 6 times now, and you were just talking about the up-leveling of your transmission, and they've always been wonderful, but this one was so clear. It felt to me like a cosmic chakra pipe cleaning, and literally. And there was, I think it was Dia that said she was floating around the rafters of some French cathedral, but I felt all of that really tangibly this time. What an honor as we all upgrade and we take upon our missions, because it takes a lot of inner personal work to rise to where you are, and that you've got out of the way. Well done. Holy smoke. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. So I aspire to your aspiring. We all lift each other up. Thank you, sweetheart, so much. And this song is called What If, because why not? And let's see what happens. All right.
What if we could find a way to wipe away all tears and fears, all broken hearts, to clear the way for a brand new start? Now that we see and know the way to lift our day and shine the light for all to see, the way back home and the way to be free. Let our love lead the way. Let the light shine through all. Let our hearts and minds be free. As we rise up from the fall, there is a way to see again, to be again, to know the truth and smile again. With an open heart we feel safe again. And now that we're free and we see that the way is to let our love show us a new way to be, and we relish the chance to be part of the dance that will recreate the world anew. What if we could find a way to wipe away all tears and fears, all broken hearts, to clear the way for a brand new start? Let our love lead the way. Let the light shine through all. Let our hearts and minds be free. As we rise up from the fall, there is a way to see again, to be again, to know the truth and smile again. With an open heart we feel safe again. Safe again. We feel safe again.
Let's all give a big twinkle on that one. That is such a spectacular song. Oh my God.
Thank you.
Oh, the words are so beautiful, Omashar, and there's a haunting melody to that particular one.
It is. This is. I kind of imagine perhaps how Vox is. Some of the music that comes through is purely channeled. You know, I just get out of the way, and these amazing chord structures come through, and the lyrics are kind of like the icing on the cake, because a lot of the transmission of the frequency is in the chord structure, and that's what really turns me on. It's like lights my fire. It's my soul food. So hopefully, it's your soul food too. Thank you.
Absolutely. And a reminder that you can get Omashar's albums, his 5 CDs, downloaded by going to omashar.bandcamp.com. omashar.bandcamp.com. And that's a wonderful way to listen to Omashar all week long. And of course, always be here on Wednesday and Saturday nights when he blesses us with his presence. Thank you, Omashar. All right, we are going to show a video, and then Reverend Jeffrey is going to come on and talk about it, maybe answer some questions. And
or if you don't mind, Scott, I could do a little introduction and then show it.
Sure, if you've got an introduction, go for it, buddy.
Yeah. Well, first of all, wow, thank you, Scott. And you know, when I know I'm in heaven because I heard the angels singing. I'll tell you
something, right? I mean, it just, between Vox and Omashar, they both just raise our vibration so high.
Oh my God, yes. And I'm just so glad to be here with the tribe. And you know, I kind of, you know, I love being the ambassador to the International Space Federation as a member, and keeping our tribe up to date on how everything's going. I just started a new practice. I just thought I'd throw this out real quick. I'm doing a little I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you to my feminine side and to all the feminine energy. So that's my little ongoing process of aligning the Oponopopo to the feminine side from me. Anyhow, you know, we're what I'd like to have us be thinking of while we're seeing this is that about the unidentified objects, the ETs, that we can create those, that this is part of who our knowledge is now. And I wanted to do think of ourselves as pilots, future pilots, of being able to, we're going to need a lot of pilots in the future doing these when we have our own space vehicles, which is not that far off, which is really wonderful with the disclosure. But that's before, you know, I just wanted to run a little checklist is before we go see the movie, the video. And just like if you're going around a ship and making checkoffs to make sure everything is in a right place and cool. So everybody just breathe as they wish to. And we got a lot of breathing techniques that we all use. but one, place our attention into the now and here, releasing all distractions and blockages, using the greatest acceptance and forgiveness. 2, merge telepathically with the field of shared consciousness of unity and unicity. 3, expand the mind to include the whole galaxy and all the beings within a mind of unity mind. So now we just can bring our attention into our spaceship as we learn to pilot our spaceships. Anyhow, that was my fun little checklist before.
That's awesome, Jeffrey. Thank you so much. And let's take a look at 0 point energy.
Have you ever wondered what the universe is truly made of? Is empty space truly empty? Science is on the cusp of mind-blowing discoveries that could revolutionize our understanding of reality and unlock a new era of technological advancements.
When we think of space, we think of something completely empty. But we know for a fact that's not the case. For instance, the space between everything you see is full of electromagnetic fields. There is microwaves and infrared and these galactic fluctuations of energies that are coming through the space right now. Space is not empty of energy, it's full of energy at the quantum level.
It was at the end of the 19th century when Max Planck was studying this black body radiation. He discovered the quantum aspect of light and the quantum aspect of our physical world. And this is how he discovered the 0 point energy.
It turns out the seemingly empty space around us is actually brimming with a hidden energy field called 0 point energy. This energy permeates everything and may hold the key to unlocking incredible possibilities.
0 point energy, or ZP, is the source of energy of everything, meaning that it's the source of energy of atoms, of stars, of galaxies, of the universe, but also of the biological world. When we look at nature, we see that everything is moving, everything is spinning, and nothing is at rest. And this motion is powered by the 0 point energy. It's not like atoms can go on and spin all their way, all the time, with no energy source. We understood that everything is powered by the 0 point energy, and that we can harness it and use it to build technology in the same way that nature is using it.
When you look at the technology we have in the world today, everything that runs on electromotor, everything from, our appliances in the home to our computers to our cell phones, they rely on the physics that we have today. The physics developed by Michael Faraday, Max Planck, that led us to electromagnetism. The physics that we're developing now, unified physics, is a direct roadmap to the technology that can emerge. The new technology that's going to result from this you have to completely rethink how we operate on this planet. If we're not limited by energy, it's unfathomable to think of how far we can go.
By doing our research on 0 point energy and understanding that the whole universe is extracting the energy of this 0 point, we can understand that our cell and our atoms are actually extracting this energy continuously on the everyday life. And maybe if we understand a little bit more deeper how it functions and how the cells are extracting this 0 point energy of quantum vacuum fluctuation energy density, maybe we can produce new technologies that will enhance this mechanism and enhance the energy that is available to our body.
The universe holds secrets waiting to be unlocked. By delving into the mysteries of space-time and 0 point energy, we embark on a journey not just of scientific discovery, but of human potential.
The International Space Federation, or ISF, is an organization based on unified physics and the education behind it, and the research and technology into the technologies resulting from the unified physics. So right now, the main technologies of focus are energy production, gravity control, and biotech. Our physicists at the International Space Federation, they're publishing a series of papers right now that unifies physics. They published one in September called The Origin of Mass and the Nature of Gravity. And there's 2 more papers in the series that are also going to come out that wrap up the rest of the unification of physics.
One of the main goals of ISF is really to educate the public, to let the public know that there's these new theories that are emerging, so they understand that there's a really amazing, bright future for humanity that's developing, that could like completely transform your daily life.
International Space Federation is independent. It doesn't rely on funding from large corporations, from special interests. We're self-funded. There's a beauty in that because what we're developing is for the world. And so since it's for the world, having it be invested for humanity by humanity is just the perfect solution to keep it decentralized. And we have a few ways that we ask for help and funding so that we can launch that much faster. We have contributions. We also have memberships for as little as $20 a month. We also have perpetual bonds, so you can participate in our profit sharing, which is a payback. You help us, we're going to help you later as we help the planet together. When we talk about what we're doing at the International Space Federation, people think it sounds like science fiction. They think, oh, maybe my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren may have this someday. No, this is soon. This is a handful of years. We need everybody on board that's in physics education, that has an interest to really pay attention to physics coming out of International Space Federation so they can help develop it that much faster.
Visit spacefed.com to learn more about the International Space Federation and their work in pushing the boundaries of space exploration and energy research. Be a part of the future. Explore the possibilities.
Beautiful.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So tell our audience a little bit about if they join the ISF, the International Space Federation, like what takes place? What do they get out of that?
Oh my, thank you for asking that. It's well, of course, just to give you an idea, to start off, it's a community of people, and you've gotten to see some of the amazing people. Now, this unified science allows for the understanding of, like when Karina was talking about how she connects with Edgar Cayce, and our friend Lee Kempter was here, and we brought a whole group of members over here, and that's the kind of thing that we are doing, and and we get together. We have breakout groups and have great discussions, and we have Q&A with the faculty. It is plus people are doing meditation. They're doing conscious raising techniques to sort of like like Dr. Cat Stevens, who was here, and others, Oriana and others are there doing it, remote viewing practices. So there is that idea of raising our consciousness to a place where we can be pilots of our own crafts, both metaphysically and as we have our own spaceships. We have to work with the field to have them. So that's what we're doing over there.
Nama.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the website. So anybody who's interested, go to spacefed.com, and that's where you can learn all about it. You can learn, there's the video we just watched actually, and you can join. Just go to the membership area, and we are certainly going to do more shows with you, Jeffrey. Thank you so much for being our ambassador, and much love to you and your beloved there. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott. And I feel the tribe. I feel the tribe energy, and I'm so glad to be in this tribe. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Oh, well, we are grateful to have you as well. Thank you very much. You're an important part. What a beautiful tribe we all have, right? We are very, very blessed to all be part of this amazing global peace tribe. All right, our last program for tonight is going to be a video with my friend Costa, who is an amazing fellow who's going to tell us all about how we can join, and I got to pull up his video real quickly, how we can be part of this organization he started, which is for people that have had ET contact and want to talk to other people who have had ET contact. I've known Costa, also known affectionately as Gus, for many, many years. He's a sweetheart of a guy, and it's my pleasure to provide you with this pre-recorded video, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So here we go. I am with an old friend of mine who I have the greatest respect for, a fellow Greek brother. I'm here with Costa. And Costa, for 40 years, worked in Silicon Valley as a computer scientist. So he's got that grounded thing. But his love, his passion, perhaps even his reason for living, has been to really help all of us connect to each other and to connect to the cosmos. We first met several decades ago. Some of you may remember the Great Invocation. A wonderful, wonderful, well, exactly that. It was like the Great Invocation. And Costa probably did more than anybody else on the planet to get that out there. And it was a mantra for many of us, really for decades, and still is. But he is also the founder of ETLetsTalk.com, which has a tremendous community, and we're going to learn all about it. So with no further ado, welcome to the Awakening World, Costa. Tell us all about ETLetsTalk.com.
Thank you very much for having me here, Scott, and giving me the opportunity to talk to your audience. And thank you also for your many years of friendship. Though we haven't been in touch all the time, we've always been aware in the computerverse of the activities we've been doing. And I've always had the greatest respect and admiration for your stamina, your heart, and your service. So thank you. And this is our latest chapter here.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about today in the time allotted is really what I call the 20,000-foot view of what I see going on Earth vis-a-vis the presence of our cosmic galactic families, because it's all interconnected. And what I want to leave people here with is a cautious sense of optimism once we're through. And the reason I say that, because it's how I live my life. Like many of you, and this is a preamble to why I'm doing what I'm doing, so please stay with me on this. Like many of you, I look upon the world right now, and it's way too easy to see all the things that are going wrong. We know that consuming mass media, and in a good way, is showing us where our shadows are as humanity and things we need to work on. And kind of in a downer kind of way, it can depress, infuriate, do all kinds of negative things, put people into fear as the mass media shows us what's going wrong in the world. You can make the list, wars, poverty, instability, all kinds of things. But there's also an upside, and that's what I want to talk about from the 20,000-foot view right now. I see from this view 3 movements, and I'm not saying they're the only ones. They're just what I've been able to gather in all the years that I've been doing my mission here of serving Gaia and all her life forms. I see 3 movements that are very hopeful, and I'll try to impart to you the core of why I think they're making a difference and why they should leave us with a sense of optimism that we as humanity can have a breakthrough at this time to a next level of love, global consciousness, rather than a breakdown. Too easy to look at the breakdown. It's in front of us all the time. We are a counter-evolutionary force, I believe, so many of us, in so many ways, who are launching into the future, professing the love that we know is there and working with it. So the 3 movements. The first one I want to talk about is a very grounded one, the People's Love Alliance. It's just a term I came up with as I looked around and recognized also with the help of my star friends who've given me some information, that there are hundreds of millions of us on this planet who are working towards a better world, but the mass media doesn't reflect it. So we have to go be each other's media, be each other's collaborators, etc., so that we can maintain our sense of hope and inspiration that there's a positive place we can be going at this time and helping each other. That's the People's Love Alliance. And I'll just throw out some numbers. There's a group called the New Group of World Servers, probably numbering in the tens of millions. There's another group called Men and Women of Goodwill, probably in the hundreds of millions, spread across all the planet at all levels of societies, all cultures, and basically working in a quiet way that doesn't get enough visibility, at least in mass media, doing the grassroots work that really is creating a future of love. So I just want people to focus on that in their hearts and to send energy to all the good people that we know are out there. We just kind of think it's maybe just us and 10 of our friends, but it's not. It's us and probably millions and millions and millions of our friends. And I'll leave you with one last statistic. My star friends told me that in 2020, they witnessed 1 billion human hearts opening. Now, 1 billion out of 8 billion people on the planet is a substantial portion. It's not to say every single one of us is a Mother Teresa, right? Doing this incredible work she did. But it means that they quantified the opening of our hearts in certain ways that is appropriate for each of us, so that we at least see a vision of the future and that we're ready to act through love to create it. So that was a really inspiring thing to hear, 1 billion human hearts. Now, let's go to the cosmos. The other two movements that I see that basically are working in concert with the People's Love Alliance are the Citizens for Disclosure movement, which Danny Sheehan and the New Paradigm Institute have just recently launched, and the People's Disclosure Movement, which I founded in 2010. And the thing about these two movements is that we both are reaching out to the cosmic civilizations that we know are here, and millions of us have had these experiences. So for most of us, it's not a matter of, oh, are they here? Are they visiting? Let's debate about this. Here's my facts. Here's my figures. Here's my videos. For most of us, it's like, yeah, they're here. They're clear. Get used to it, right? So let's work with them, because the message we've been getting is that they are here out of concern for us, out of immense love for us, and wanting to help us at this time where we're doing our transition. Again, we're looking for a breakthrough, not a breakdown. So the Citizens for Disclosure is a people-powered movement that is working through the levels of government, from the grassroots up. And that's why the People's Disclosure movement endorses what they're doing, because we're all about people power. And this is people taking their power back from authorities, even as we try to enlighten some of the authorities and work through some of those channels to bring about disclosure. And the big word right now is disclosure, and has been in the UFO UAP community. And that's what the two movements of Citizens for Disclosure and the People's Disclosure movement are about. So Citizens for Disclosure, and I urge you to support them at newparadigminstitute.org, is applying grassroots pressure from...
You don't need to talk about that, because we've already handled that part. So,
okay.
Yeah. We've already done a big promotion for them over the last 2 weeks, including tonight's show. But we do want to learn all about ET Let's Talk.
Okay. The People's Disclosure Movement, I founded in 2010. At that time, my star friends needed the collaboration of many more of us to connect with them and interact with them. So they asked that we create as many contact teams all over the planet as possible, in as many places as possible, as quickly as possible. And I asked them why that was. They said that by doing that, we humans were giving them more permission to literally appear in more cities. And as more citizens saw them and wanted to interact, that would give them more permission to appear in more cities, allowing more citizens to see them. They call this a virtuous circle. So I set about doing what I could on the internet to to introduce people and to create the People's Disclosure Movement. This movement is a movement of networks within networks within networks of people doing whatever it is in their own way to make the cosmic connection. I don't claim to be in touch with all of them because it's so huge. I believe we have more than 1 million people in the People's Disclosure Movement who are focused on this question of how do we make contact? How do we interact with them? What can we learn? What can we offer? So in a nutshell, that's the People's Disclosure Movement. We're a very positive looking, forward looking movement and we know that our destiny as humans now is to become cosmic humans. So because we've been visited and our participation has been asked for by our cosmic friends and families, this is the time. This is the time to keep reaching out and to growing. And I'll give you one statistic. There was recent research done that showed, and some research that I extended, but it basically asked 2 questions. Do you believe in cosmic civilizations out there? And if you do, should we be interacting with them? Well, by my calculations from that research, 1.3 billion people can say yes to both those questions. So if you're out there and you think that you're alone, you had some kind of an experience when you were a child or recently, you have video, you have pictures, it's not just you and 10 of your friends that are maybe like that. There are 1.3 billion people that in theory, are right where we are, low-hanging fruit, all of us ready for contact. And I think that's very inspiring.
That's amazing. So how do people get involved? How can some of our viewers who are watching, and almost all of them, we've already asked them to join New Paradigm, but how can they join the People's Disclosure Movement? Do they go to etletstalk.com?
Yeah, it's a free membership, etletstalk.com, and you'll get a lot of information about our monthly ET Contact events that are global in nature. We've been doing those since 2010, so we're in our 15th year as a global community, as a united humanity, making our contact every month. On top of that, people have been doing daily, weekly, their own monthly contact in so many different ways. But at least at etletstalk.com, the membership is free, and you'll get announcements about our monthly activities and join our community.
Fantastic. So again, I'm going to go to the homepage here. It's etletstalk.com. I'm sorry. etletstalk.com. Really easy to remember. etletstalk.com. And when you go to the homepage, just click sign up. It's free. And that's how you get in there. And then there's like a monthly newsletter, or how often do people receive communication?
You'll get monthly communications from me about how to join the what I call the Global CE5 Initiative, which CE5, as many people know, is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, human-initiated interactive contact with our cosmic families. So they'll get the monthly newsletter, plus additional announcements of free webinars put on by me and by others that I think will be instructive to our community. So lots of informational goodies is what I'd like to offer people, so that we stay active and stay inspired, that we're part of a mass movement. I think the greatest movement in human history, as we're reaching out to the stars and they're reaching back.
Absolutely. Kirsta, thank you so much for the wonderful work that you're doing. And it's so exciting. The numbers you gave, the statistics. I love that vision of 1 out of every 8 hearts opening. Because isn't that really what it's about right now? It's like choosing love over fear, oneness over separation, and especially where there is so much polarization going on in certain elements of our external world. God bless you, me, all of us who are choosing oneness and choosing to open our hearts and embrace one another. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So our hearts are opening. Isn't that beautiful? All right. Before our closing Omoshar song, I've got some important announcements to make to you. We are on Saturday going to be doing another show with our dear friends with Soul Search. And Cornflower is coming back. It's been a while since Cornflower has been on the show. He is going to be our special guest musical artist. And of course, we'll have Omar Shah with us as well. So great music and some really fun soul search luminaries and TV stars. They'll be channeling, and it's all going to be getting ready for the holy days, getting ready for the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, and my birthday. So I'm actually going to be at the Enlightenment Expo with Tangela. It's in Santa Ana. Now, I don't know if any of you are in that part of the world, but if any of you are, please come on Sunday. We're going to be in Santa Ana. But for most of you, we are going to have a Sacred Sunday show. Again, it's going to be a hybrid experience, meaning that Tangela and Charlie and I will all be together live at the Enlightenment Expo in Santa Ana. Omar Shah will come in and join us. So at 10:30, we'll start. And for the first half hour will be Omar Shah, myself, Tangela. And then at 11 o'clock, we'll live stream the event that Tangela and I are doing, tips and tools and practices for the holy days, and then an hour with Shirley Lamson. So please join us on Sunday for Omar Shah music. And if any of you are anywhere near Santa Ana, come and join me live. I want to see you. And speaking of live experiences, I am going to be in Encinitas doing an event on December 10th. That's a Tuesday. So if any of you are near San Diego, I'll be in Encinitas on Tuesday with my good friend Viraja. You've seen her on this show before. And we're going to be doing an evening of compassionate communication. So that's Tuesday night, December 10th. That will not be live streamed. That's live only. So there you go. I'll send out an email with all the information about this to you guys, to our subscribers. I'll also put it in the chat box while Omar Shah is playing the link for our Sacred Sunday show this Sunday at 10:30 a.m. And as we get ready to come to a close, of course, we conclude with one final Omar Shah song for the evening.
And what a beautiful show it has been. And isn't Costa a lovely, cuddly man? Holy smoke.
He's a sweetheart. He's a total sweetheart. Yeah.
And thank you, Jeffrey. You rock, brother. And Jerry, you look so cool in white in your Humanities Rising interview. You're the white monk, which is very lovely. And so here we are. Let's do this thing.
Brighter than the sun. Here where life is one. All the past falls like rain into the soil of future dreams. Love, the footprint in the sand. Eyes shining like the stars. And the way is suddenly so clear. And we know what has to be done, and still we wonder why flowers keep on blooming, the stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, a deeper truth, our rightful place, and still we wonder why. Life, a promise to fulfill. Now a vision is revealed, and the blessing of who we really are can be felt throughout our world, and still we wonder why. Flowers keep on blooming, the stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, a deeper truth, our rightful place, and still we wonder why. Light brighter than the sun, here where life is won, and the way is suddenly so clear, and we know what has to be done. Still we wonder why. Flowers keep on blooming, the stardust in our eyes lifts us all to a higher plane, a deeper truth, our rightful place, and still we wonder why. Life, a promise to fulfill. Now the vision is revealed, and still we wonder why.
Wow. The way what's that video you've got playing behind you?
What do you mean? What video?
It's incredible.
Dude, there's no videos.
Come
on, what are you doing? No, help.
That was like amazing. Just
It is a trip. I put it together out of a bunch of UFO videos, and it's about 50 pieces just spliced together. So it just becomes this amazing trip.
Yeah, it was because I love showing the people dancing, but I realized, no, we got to just focus on what's going on behind Omoshar.
I know you're missing like 95% of that, even though the other 5%, the people dancing, is awesome. So anyway, I'm just kind of kidding there, but slightly true.
Well, let's play that video again. Next time we're doing, we will be doing other UFO stories, shows, no doubt.
Yes.
And
for some reason, this tree behind me is in Avebury. And it was where Tolkien and some of his movies, not that Tolkien did the movies, were recorded around this group of cedar, I believe, trees. So yeah.
You're amazing. I mean, you top yourself every week. I don't know how you do it. I'm sure. really.
Well, we're evolving, and the thing with evolving is you constantly get better and better and better, and you know, the ego drops away, and the true light that you are starts shining out, and we're all glorious, Scott. Each and every one of us, absolutely glorious. We all have these unique individual gifts, and a show like this gets us the chance to expose them. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to get all of you to look at all these glorious bright lights, those of you who have your cameras on, and love each and every one of you. Hope maybe I'll see some of you in person on my road trip to LA, San Diego, Sedona, and Las Vegas. But we will still be doing, of course, Awakening World shows, no matter where I might be. And thank you for being with us tonight. And I look forward to seeing you either online or, if I'm lucky, in person. Take care, everybody. Have a beautiful few days. God bless you.
Evolution is the solution.